The jagged, towering peaks of the Hindu Kush mountains loom ominously, casting long, sharp shadows over a narrow, dust-choked valley floor carved between sheer canyon walls. The atmosphere is thick with the haze of kicked-up dirt and the tension of imminent violence, capturing the raw, unforgiving majesty of the Afghan landscape. Sunlight struggles to penetrate the deep crevasse, creating a high-contrast interplay of light and dark that highlights the texture of the ancient stone. There are no people visible yet, only the imposing geography that will become a killing field. The composition utilizes a wide-angle lens to emphasize the verticality and entrapment of the location. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Mongol warriors, their faces twisted in uncharacteristic sheer panic and terror, are captured in a chaotic blur of motion as they scramble desperately through the narrow rocky pass. Horses rear and collide, dust swirls violently around their frantic movements, and heavy lamellar armor clatters as discipline completely collapses into a stampede. The scene is chaotic and visceral, focusing on the sweat, dirt, and wide eyes of soldiers who have never known defeat before. Lighting is harsh and fragmented, cutting through the dust clouds to illuminate moments of pure desperation. Shot with a telephoto lens to compress the mass of fleeing bodies against the canyon walls. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A low-angle shot captures the hooves of Mongol horses thundering past the camera, kicking up debris, while in the background, the elite cavalrymen look back in fear at an unseen pursuer. The once pristine furs and silks of the Mongol wardrobe are torn and covered in the grime of a desperate escape, symbolizing the shattering of their invincibility. The environment is a blur of gray stone and brown earth, rushing by as the subjects flee. The lighting is dramatic, with backlighting emphasizing the silhouettes of the retreating army against the harsh sun. The camera captures the motion blur of speed and panic. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal al-Din Mingburnu stands atop a rocky outcrop, his posture radiating defiant strength and kingly command, looking down at the fleeing enemy with intense determination. He wears battle-worn royal armor featuring intricate Persian designs, his face smeared with dust and sweat, but his eyes burning with the fire of a man who has refused to die. The background features the smoking aftermath of battle and the retreating dust clouds of the Mongols. The lighting is heroic, a golden hour glow hitting his profile while the valley below remains in shadow. Shot with a 50mm portrait lens to isolate his figure against the grand landscape. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A wide, apocalyptic panorama of a burning Central Asian city, its grand domes and minarets crumbling under the weight of fire and siege engines. Black smoke billows into the sky, blotting out the sun, while the foreground is littered with the debris of a fallen civilization. Broken pottery, torn tapestries, and rubble. The color palette is dominated by oranges, blacks, and grays, evoking a sense of total destruction and hopelessness. The lighting is dim and atmospheric, lit by the embers of the dying city. A drone-style high-angle shot reveals the scale of the devastation. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A haunting, close-up detail of a ruined street in Nishapur, where silence reigns heavy over the destruction. The focus is on a child's forgotten toy lying in the ash next to a broken sword. The architecture shows signs of systematic dismantling, with walls toppled and scorched earth where gardens once bloomed. The atmosphere is ghostly and mournful, with drifting ash acting like snow in the air. Soft, diffused lighting creates a somber mood, emphasizing the tragedy without needing explicit gore. Shot with a macro lens to focus on the textures of loss and destruction. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The former Shah lies destitute and dying on a ragged rug in a small, damp tent on a lonely, wind-swept island in the Caspian Sea. His face is gaunt. His royal robes are tattered and stained, and his expression is one of utter defeat and regret as he stares into the nothingness. The environment is bleak, with gray waves crashing against the rocky shore visible through the tent flap. The lighting is cold and blue-toned, emphasizing the isolation and fall from grace. A medium shot captures his frail form dwarfed by the emptiness of his surroundings. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, younger and filled with righteous fury, mounts a black warhorse in the middle of a chaotic courtyard where nobles and servants are packing to flee. He raises a curved sword, shouting orders to rally the few loyal soldiers remaining, his face a mask of stubborn courage. The background is a blur of panic and movement, but he remains the sharp focus of stability. The lighting is dramatic, with a shaft of sunlight breaking through clouds to illuminate him solely. Shot with a 35mm lens to capture the energy and movement of the scene. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A vast, perfectly symmetrical formation of Mongol cavalry stands motionless on a steppe, organized into precise decimal units of 10, 100, and 1,000. The warriors sit erect on their horses, holding colorful banners that flutter in the wind, demonstrating rigid discipline and hierarchy. The environment is the endless, grassy steppe under a wide, open sky. The lighting is bright and clear, emphasizing the uniformity and scale of the army. A high-angle aerial view showcases the geometric perfection of their battle lines. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A Mongol courier, wrapped in furs and leather, gallops at breakneck speed across a blurred landscape, his horse foaming at the mouth from exertion. He carries a sealed scroll and wears bells to signal his approach, his face set in intense concentration. The background is a motion-blurred expanse of mountains and plains, emphasizing the incredible speed and range of the Mongol network. The lighting is dynamic, with the sun setting behind him, casting long, fast-moving shadows. Shot with a panning camera technique to lock onto the rider while blurring the world around him. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A close-up, highly detailed shot of a Mongol warrior's hands drawing a recurved composite bow, showing the tension in the wood, horn, and sinew construction. The warrior wears a thumb ring, and the arrow tip is sharp steel, glinting in the light. The background is out of focus but suggests a target in the distance. The lighting highlights the texture of the materials, the grain of the bow, the leather of the gloves, the fletching of the arrow. The composition focuses on the weapon itself as a masterpiece of engineering. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A dynamic action shot of Mongol cavalry riding away from the camera, but twisted backward in their saddles to fire arrows at pursuing enemies. This Parthian shot maneuver is executed with fluid grace, the horses galloping full speed while the riders aim with deadly precision. The environment is a dusty plain, with the confused enemy forces visible in the distance, falling into the trap. The lighting is harsh midday sun, casting sharp shadows. Wide-angle lens captures the breadth of the maneuver and the fluidity of the horse archers. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Genghis Khan sits on a portable throne in a field camp, surrounded by piles of looted treasures, golden chalices, and surrendered banners from a dozen different nations. He looks calm, almost bored by the success, radiating an aura of absolute, unquestioned power. The background shows a sprawling, endless encampment of jairs, yurts, stretching to the horizon. The lighting is warm, bathed in the glow of campfires and twilight. A medium shot captures the Khan's impassive expression amidst the spoils of a decade of war. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Shigi Qutuqu is depicted inside a lavishly decorated yurt, not holding a sword, but holding a brush and a scroll, surrounded by stacks of legal codices. He appears intellectual and refined, dressed in robes that signify high administrative rank rather than heavy combat armor. His expression is thoughtful and studious, contrasting with the savage reputation of his people. The interior is lit by oil lamps, creating a warm, intimate atmosphere filled with floating dust motes. A medium close-up focuses on his hands and the scroll, symbolizing his true nature. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Genghis Khan stands tall in his command tent, handing a command baton to Shigi Qutuqu with a dismissive, casual gesture, as if ordering a simple errand. Shigi accepts it with a bow, looking confident but slightly out of his depth. The background is filled with hardened generals who look on with subtle skepticism. The lighting is moody, with shadows obscuring Genghis's eyes, foreshadowing the error of this decision. The camera angle is over Genghis's shoulder, looking down slightly at Shigi. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Shigi Qutuqu rides a white stallion at the head of a massive column of 30,000 Mongol cavalry. His posture relaxed and his expression smug. He holds the reins loosely, chatting with an aide, completely disregarding the need for scouts or caution. The landscape around him is open and sunny, reflecting his bright but false optimism. The lighting is high-key and brilliant, emphasizing the shine of the armor and the vast numbers behind him. A wide tracking shot captures the sheer size of the force he commands. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal al-Din Mingburnu is hunched over a crude wooden table in a dimly lit fortress room, studying a map of the Hindu Kush by candlelight. His face is intense and weary, scarred from previous battles, as he moves carved wooden pieces representing troops into defensive positions. Shadows dance on the stone walls behind him, and weapons are piled nearby, ready for use. The lighting is chiaroscuro, focusing entirely on his face and the map. A high-angle close-up emphasizes his isolation and the weight of his planning. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The ancient walls of the fortress city of Ghazni rise in the background, while the foreground is a bustling hive of military activity. Soldiers sharpen swords, blacksmiths hammer iron, and horses are shod, all under the banner of the Khwarazmian Empire. The atmosphere is gritty and urgent, with the heat of the forge and the dust of the drilling grounds filling the air. The lighting is the golden haze of late afternoon, A wide establishing shot captures the scale of the mobilization. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A close group of refugees, huddled together in the shadow of a Ghazni wall, their clothes tattered and faces etched with the horror of what they have witnessed. An old man comforts a crying child, while a woman stares hollowly into the distance. Their eyes tell the story of burning cities. The textures of their worn fabrics and weathered skin are highly detailed. The lighting is soft and melancholic, contrasting with the harsh preparation for war nearby. A portrait-style shot focuses on the human cost of the conflict. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A line of Khwarazmian heavy cavalrymen sits atop armored horses, their steel cataphract armor glinting dully. They are grim-faced veterans, holding heavy lances, their beards braided and equipment well-maintained despite years of war. They exude a sense of disciplined, pent-up rage. The background is the dusty parade ground of Ghazni. The lighting highlights the scratches and dents on their armor, telling a story of survival. A low-angle shot emphasizes their imposing stature and power. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Amin al-Mulk rides a spirited chestnut horse, flanked by his Turkish warriors who wear distinctive pointed helmets and carry round shields. Amin is a fierce-looking older warrior with a scarred face, gesturing broadly as he joins Jalal's forces. The environment is a dusty road leading to the city gates, crowded with troops. The lighting is bright and harsh, emphasizing the vibrant colors of the Turkish tunics and banners. A medium shot captures the arrival and the strength of this new ally. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A messenger, covered in dust and exhaustion, stands before Jalal and his council, his hands trembling as he delivers the news. The faces of the commanders, including Jalal, Amin, and others, twist in a mix of horror and absolute fury. The setting is a war tent with maps swept aside. The lighting is low and moody, casting deep shadows that reflect the dark news of the City of Sorrows. A close-up ensemble shot captures the emotional turning point where fear turns to vengeance. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Saif al-Din Igrak stands tall on a mountain ridge, surrounded by thousands of Afghan tribesmen clad in rough wool and leather, armed with simple bows, axes, and obsolete swords. They look fierce, rugged, and perfectly at home in the jagged terrain. Behind them, the misty peaks of the Hindu Kush stretch endlessly. The lighting is dramatic, with the tribesmen silhouetted against a cloudy sky, looking like a force of nature. A wide-angle shot from below emphasizes their dominance of the high ground. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal al-Din Mingburnu stands at the head of a rough table, flanked by Amin al-Mulk and Saif al-Din Igrak. They are clasping arms or pointing at a map, their expressions serious and unified for the moment. The tent is crowded with captains from different cultures, creating a visual tapestry of Central Asian warrior attire. The atmosphere is thick with smoke and intensity. The lighting is warm candlelight, highlighting the faces of the leaders and the map of Parwan between them. A medium shot captures the fragile unity of the coalition. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal stands alone on a high cliff edge overlooking the narrow Parwan valley. His gaze is calculating, scanning the bottleneck where the valley narrows between steep rock walls. The wind whips his cloak around him. The valley below is empty, a peaceful serpentine river of stone that he intends to turn into a graveyard. The lighting is crisp, emphasizing the tactical geometry of the terrain. An over-the-shoulder shot allows the viewer to see the valley from his strategic perspective. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A low-angle, vertical shot from the valley floor looking up at the imposing, sheer cliffs of Parwan. The walls are jagged and steep, offering no escape for anyone trapped below. The ground is uneven, rocky, and broken. Terrible terrain for horses to gallop. The sky is a narrow strip of blue far above. The lighting creates deep, claustrophobic shadows at the bottom, while the peaks remain sunlit. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Afghan archers are shown stealthily taking positions among the gray rocks and scrub brush high up on the valley slopes. They are blending in, camouflaged, checking their bowstrings and arrow quivers. Their vantage point offers a perfect line of sight into the valley floor. The atmosphere is tense and quiet. The lighting is dappled sunlight through clouds, hiding them in shadows. A close-up shot focuses on an archer's eyes scanning the horizon. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The vanguard of Shigi Qutuqu's army enters the mouth of the Parwan Valley. The Mongol heavy cavalry rides in close formation, their confidence bordering on arrogance, unaware of the eyes watching them from above. Dust rises around the hooves of thousands of horses. The composition uses a framing technique, viewing the Mongols through the gap of two large boulders in the foreground. The lighting is bright, exposing them fully while the foreground remains dark. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A split-screen style composition or wide standoff shot showing the Mongol army on one side of the narrow valley and Jalal's heavy cavalry blocking the path on the other. The air shimmers with heat and tension. Banners hang still for a moment before the charge. The sheer density of soldiers in the confined space is palpable. The lighting is high noon, harsh and unforgiving. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The sky above the valley is darkened by a massive volley of arrows raining down from the cliffs. On the valley floor, Mongol soldiers raise their round shields in a desperate tortoise-like formation, sparks flying as arrows strike steel and wood. Horses rear in confusion, unable to spread out. The perspective is from the ground level, looking up into the deadly hail. The lighting is chaotic, with shafts of light cutting through the dust and falling arrows. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Shigi Qutuqu pulls his horse up sharply, shouting orders that go unheard in the din. He looks around, realizing the canyon walls are too tight for his flanking maneuvers. His face registers shock and frustration. The scholar general is suddenly facing a tactical puzzle he cannot solve. The background shows his troops bumping into each other, jammed tight. The lighting focuses on his bewildered expression amidst the shadowy chaos of the valley. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A bizarre and eerie sight. Spare Mongol horses are tied together, carrying crude dummies made of straw and wrapped in old felt to look like riders. They are positioned on a ridge to the rear of the Mongol lines, silhouetted against the sky to deceive the enemy. The wind blows the loose fabric, making them look like ghostly warriors. The lighting is twilight, enhancing the deception and the uncanny valley effect. A medium shot captures the crude construction of the dummies. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal al-Din squints through the glare, staring at the distant ridge. A subtle smirk plays on his lips as he points out the stiffness of the reinforcements to his lieutenants. He looks confident, emboldened by the enemy's resort to trickery. The background is his command post on the high ground. The lighting captures the glint of understanding in his eyes. A close-up profile shot emphasizing his tactical acumen. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The Mongol army, massed and desperate, surges forward in a massive wave of cavalry, kicking up a wall of dust. Their faces are grim, weapons drawn, charging straight towards the camera which represents the Afghan line. The ground shakes visually through the blur of hooves. The environment is the claustrophobic valley floor, now littered with debris from previous days. The lighting is the cold, gray light of early dawn. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Saif al-Din Iraq stands at the front of his line of Afghan foot soldiers. They are not retreating. They are kneeling with spears grounded and shields locked, a human wall of resolve. Behind them, archers draw their bows. Their faces show terror mixed with grit. The approaching Mongol horde is reflected in their eyes. The lighting is dramatic, highlighting the tips of the spears. Low-angle shot from behind the Afghan line looking at the oncoming storm. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A line of Afghan archers stands fully upright on the rocky slope, drawing long, heavy bows with immense effort. They are firing point-blank into the Mongol charge below. Muscles strain, and faces are contorted with exertion. The perspective emphasizes their height advantage. Arrows blur as they leave the strings. The background is the chaotic swirl of the battle below. The lighting highlights the raw physicality of the archers. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Suddenly, the Mongol front line wheels their horses around and gallops away in apparent panic. It looks like a rout, but the riders are too organized, their movements too synchronized. Some look back with predatory anticipation. The dust swirls around the fleeing soldiers. The environment is the valley floor. The lighting captures the dynamic motion of the turning horses. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A group of about 500 Afghan warriors breaks from the main defensive line, screaming war cries, their faces flush with the thrill of victory. They sprint down the rocky slope, weapons raised, chasing the retreating Mongols, ignoring the shouts of their commanders to hold back. The composition shows them becoming isolated from the main force. The lighting is chaotic, emphasizing the disorder of their charge. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The retreating Mongol cavalry suddenly halts and turns in unison, encircling the 500 isolated Afghans. The scene is a brutal swirl of violence as the Mongols cut down the exposed infantry with ruthless efficiency. The Afghans look shocked, realizing too late they walked into a trap. Dust and blood fill the air. The lighting is harsh, spotlighting the massacre in the center of the valley. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, seeing the Mongols clustered and distracted, draws his sword and screams the order for the general charge. He kicks his horse into a gallop, leading his elite guard downhill. His expression is one of pure, predatory focus. He knows this is the deciding moment. The background blurs as he accelerates. The lighting captures the glint of his sword and the determination in his eyes. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A violent, high-impact shot of Jalal's heavy cavalry smashing into the flank of the Mongol formation. Horses collide, riders are thrown, and lances shatter against armor. The momentum is visibly with Jalal's forces, who strike like a hammer. The Mongols, caught mid-celebration, are reeling. The scene is dense with action and debris. The lighting is kinetic, with motion blur emphasizing the force of the impact. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A top-down view of the valley floor shows the Mongol army compressed into a tight, disorganized mass. There is no room to turn horses or draw bows properly. The geometric order of the Mongols is gone, replaced by a confused crush of bodies and animals. Soldiers look up in desperation as they are squeezed from all sides. The canyon walls loom like prison bars. The lighting casts deep shadows into the pit of the struggle. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The view from the perspective of a Mongol soldier looking up, seeing only a sliver of sky filled with falling arrows. Shields are raised, but the volume of fire is overwhelming. Panic is setting in on the faces around him. The air is thick with dust and flying projectiles. The lighting is oppressive and dim, reflecting the soldiers' terrifying reality. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A hyper-realistic close-up of a veteran Mongol warrior's face. His helmet is askew, dirt streaks his skin, but the focus is on his eyes wide, trembling, and filled with a new emotion, fear. In the reflection of his eyes, we see the chaos of his invincible army falling apart. The background is a bouquet of violence. The lighting is high contrast, emphasizing the sweat and raw emotion. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A wide, epic shot of the entire coalition force, Afghans, Turks, and Persians, pouring down the valley slopes like a landslide. Flags wave, swords are raised, and the sheer number of men descending is overwhelming. The momentum is unstoppable. The landscape is filled with the rushing army. The lighting is triumphant, with the sun behind the charging forces, casting long shadows over the doomed Mongols. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The Mongol lines disintegrate. Riders throw down their bows and try to force their way back through the narrow pass, trampling their own comrades. It is a scene of absolute rout and panic. Horses are riderless. Banners lie in the mud. The legendary discipline is gone, replaced by the instinct to survive. The environment is choked with dust and chaos. The lighting captures the frantic, disjointed movement of the collapse. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The valley floor is a scene of devastation. The battle is no longer a contest but a slaughter. Coalition soldiers pursue fleeing Mongols, striking them down. The ground is littered with bodies and debris. The narrow walls of the canyon seem to close in on the carnage. The atmosphere is heavy and brutal. The lighting is fading evening light, casting a red hue over the battlefield, symbolizing the blood spilled. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
In the twilight aftermath, Khwarazmian soldiers stand over captured Mongols. The scene is somber and dark. There is no glory here, only cold vengeance. Stakes are visible in the background, implying the gruesome fate of the captives. The faces of the victors are hard and unsmiling. The environment is the quiet, body-strewn valley. The lighting is low-key, illuminated by torches that cast flickering, eerie shadows. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Shigi Qutuqu rides alone, slightly ahead of a ragged, small group of survivors. His head is bowed low, his shoulders slumped in utter defeat. The scholarly arrogance is gone, replaced by the crushing weight of failure. He rides through a desolate landscape, away from the camera. The lighting is the blue hour of dusk, cold and lonely. A wide shot emphasizes his isolation and the smallness of his surviving force. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal sits in his victory tent, still wearing his blood-spattered armor, dictating a letter to a scribe. He holds a goblet of wine, looking intense and manic with adrenaline. The scribe looks nervous. The letter is the challenge to Genghis. The atmosphere is electric but slightly unhinged. The lighting is warm candlelight, focusing on Jalal's expressive face and the moving pen. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
In the center of the camp, Amin al-Mulk and Saif al-Din Igrak are shouting at each other, hand on hilts, while a magnificent white Mongol stallion stands between them, looking nervous. Soldiers from both sides are gathering, the tension palpable. The celebration has turned ugly. The background shows the loot being divided. The lighting is the harsh light of a campfire, casting long, dancing shadows of the arguing commanders. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A freeze-frame moment of shock. Jalal al-Din, face twisted in anger, lashes out with a riding whip, striking the proud Saif al-Din Igrak across the face. Amin al-Mulk looks on smugly. The crowd of soldiers gasps. Irak's hand goes to his cheek, his eyes wide with humiliation and betrayal. The lighting creates a spotlight effect on the three men, isolating them from the darkness around. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Jalal stands in the morning mist, looking out at the Afghan section of the camp. It is completely empty, save for smoldering fires left to deceive him. The realization of his loss hits him. He is alone again. The mood is silent and heavy with regret. The landscape is gray and foggy. The lighting is flat and colorless, reflecting the emptiness of the scene. A wide shot shows the vast empty space where 30,000 men used to be. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Genghis Khan stands outside his yurt, crushing a message scroll in his fist. His face is a mask of cold, terrifying rage. Behind him, the main Mongol army, 100,000 strong, is already mounting up, a sea of warriors stretching to the horizon. The sky is dark and stormy, matching his mood. The lighting focuses on his intense, predator-like eyes. A low-angle shot makes him look larger than life, a force of nature coming for revenge. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Genghis Khan and a humbled Shigi Qutuqu walk slowly through the corpse-littered valley of Parwan. Genghis points to the cliffs and the narrow pass, gesturing with an instructive, albeit stern, demeanor. Shigi listens with head bowed. The bodies of Mongol soldiers still lie where they fell. The atmosphere is quiet and eerie. The lighting is the harsh midday sun, exposing the failures clearly. Two figures amidst the dead. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A long, winding column of soldiers and civilians trudges through a dusty mountain pass. Jalal rides at the rear, looking back anxiously. The refugees carry bundles, children cry, and carts break down. The pace is agonizingly slow. The landscape is arid and hostile. The lighting is the blinding white heat of the sun, emphasizing the exhaustion and desperation of the march. A wide, high-angle shot captures the vulnerability of the caravan. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
The roaring, swollen waters of the Indus River fill the background. In the foreground, Jalal's reduced army forms a desperate semicircle, shields locked, facing the approaching Mongol horde. The Mongols form a massive crescent, closing the net. The sky is gray and oppressive. The water looks dark and dangerous. The lighting is low contrast, signifying the end of the road. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Chaos on the riverbank. The Khwarazmian lines are breaking under the weight of the Mongol charge. Genghis Khan can be seen in the distance, directing troops calmly. Jalal is fighting in the thick of it, his armor battered, swinging his sword with the energy of a man with nothing left to lose. Bodies fall into the swirling river. The lighting is chaotic, with flashes of steel and splashing water. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
A spectacular, frozen moment. Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, on his horse, leaps from the high riverbank into the void above the churning Indus River. Arrows fly through the air around him. His face is set in grim determination, eyes fixed on the far bank. The horse's legs are tucked for the fall. Below, the water is a raging torrent. The lighting captures the silhouette of horse and rider against the gray sky. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Igrak.
Genghis Khan stands at the very edge of the cliff, looking down at the river. He is not shooting, he has lowered his bow. His expression is one of genuine shock and grudging respect. Beside him, his sons look on in disbelief. Far below, a small dot, Jalal and his horse, surfaces in the current, alive. The lighting highlights Genghis's weathered face and the vast, powerful river. A medium close-up on Genghis captures the moment of warrior kinship. Cinematic, 8K resolution, highly detailed, professional photography.
Narrative context includes Genghis Khan, Shigi Qutuqu, Jalal al-Din Mingburnu, Amin al-Mulk, Saif al-Din Iraq.